Okay, we are going to do uh, new moon slash solar eclipse reading here. And I had been using the Lenormand, and tonight I really feel like I'm just going to use the Deviant Moon. I know this deck really well, and it seems right to do at this point in time. So as I'm doing, oh yeah, I also have the obelisk on, so you might hear this thing saying some things. It's on dictionary mode right now, so it says some preordained words, that it's got in its word library. Anyway, let's take a peek and see what this eclipse has to say. So as I'm doing it, the eclipse is about an hour away. I think it's supposed to happen at like 2:30 in the morning, and it's about 1 o'clock in the morning right now. I guess it's an hour and a half away, and on the other side of the planet, but that's okay. Random word, raspberries. Number 72. I think 72 is one of my random words a lot. Okay. Root card, Queen of Swords. Loneliness and anxiety. Wow. So this ends up actually being pretty positive. I'm going to try to move this to a spot where I don't get glare. There we go. So even though the root card is the Queen of Swords, which does talk about anxiety and loneliness, one of the things about the Queen of Swords is she is brilliant. She sees things that other people don't see because she's so clever and observant. And considering the rest of this reading, I mean, we may be feeling the anxiety and the loneliness, but what is actually showing up in the center, we have the Nine of Pentacles, and the Nine of Pentacles is like the energy of a shopping trip. So it does show physical control, and it's basically having enough money, or at least having the means to get the things that you want, the things that make you feel good about yourself. So we have that sort of material layer of feeling good that shows up in the Nine of Pentacles. Now, the cool thing about the Nine of Pentacles, it does show that kind of a boost that we need is material shit. And material shit tends to be a lot easier to deal with than emotional stuff. Now, here, this is basically what leads up to the nine, and we get the star. So the star is things working out the way that we want. It's like prayers that are answered. This is a surprisingly positive reading, especially for the shit that's been happening lately. But we have this sort of blessing that shows up that leads to a bit of material control and is followed up by the emperor. And the emperor is again about control. Here's the thing about the emperor, and this leading up to the emperor, whatever it is that we're trying to make happen in our lives, if we are the emperor, right, and we wait for the thing to fall into our lap, we will wait forever. The emperor kind of has to make something happen. The Empress could wait, and whatever it is that she wants would just plop into her life. But the Emperor is really showing that you have to take control. But this gives a pretty good ramp to be able to take the control that shows up in the Emperor. So we're just going to put one more down here. We've got the root card, and this is kind of what is meant to come out of the whole thing. And it's the Eight of Swords. Well, okay. So the Eight of Swords is more of that anxiety energy. It's interesting because here it shows the moon, and the moon is fucking with the person's head, trying to pull them out of the window. There has been some stuff in the readings lately that have shown that the moon can be a negative influence on us, and I love the moon, so it's difficult for me to say that, but the readings have shown that that might actually be the case. So here, this moment of positive energy and control in getting what we want or making our lives the way we want it, it looks like it might be just kind of a temporary thing. And if there is a positive message to come out of the Eight of Swords, the Eight of Swords just says, don't freak out. Here it's a long, dark night. And, the moon is fucking with their head and trying to get them to jump out the window. But the sun is coming up, right? So it shows this point in time in which we feel very paralyzed, and it almost becomes too much, but the sun is coming up. Um, so here, as you begin to manifest control in your life, and especially some physical, like monetary control, the eight, the eight is saying, don't freak out. If you feel like it isn't happening quick enough, just don't freak out. And at the end of the day, the Emperor is also saying, like, kind of nothing is gonna happen by itself. So if there is something you're working toward, this is a great line to get there, but know that you still have some doing to do because the Emperor shows up. So, Queen of Swords. One more thing I'm going to say about the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is like a mad scientist because she has the energy of swords, which makes her very clever and intellectual. But she also has the receptivity because she is a queen. So she's receptive enough to what's happening around her that she can pull inspiration, and she's clever enough to like come up with new ideas. So the Queen of Swords is kind of a mad scientist, and with this thing showing up in this context, this also kind of says if you have some, maybe, I don't want to say crazy ideas, but some new inventive ideas, don't be afraid to roll with those, especially in this line here. Good luck and peace.